Hello and welcome to another episode of Bored and Annoyed. I am home at the movies.
And I am Jackson.
And today we're doing a comedy weekend podcast thing.
Yeah, we each saw a different comedy. I'm interested to hear what you thought about yours, because yours was kind of the more hyped one.
Yeah. Well, I'm more excited to actually hear what you have to say.
Oh, that scares me.
Bored and Annoyed. First, we're going to get into some news, something that kind of everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, well, today it was pretty ridiculous, but
yeah. So James Cameron went out and had quite a few negative things to say, or at least it seemed it was pretty negative.
He kind of tried to walk it back in the middle of what he said. I don't remember exactly what he said.
So I'm gonna read it verbatim here. So he says, he told IndieWire, "I'm hoping we'll start getting Avengers fatigue here pretty soon. It's just, come on, guys. There are other stories to sell besides hypergonadal males without families doing death-defying things for 2 hours and wrecking cities in the process. It's like, oi. Not that I don't love the Avengers movies."
That was the walk it back part.
That's the walk it back part. I mean, it looks like he's got some more stuff to say. I don't know if it's really worth reading there. Oh, I found myself as a father of 5 starting to think about what an Avatar story would be like if it was a family drama. What if it was The Godfather? I'm going to leave it at that because I don't know if there's a whole lot to say more about that.
I haven't seen that part of it. I just saw the Avengers part this morning, and I was like, dude, you have no business saying anything. Yeah. Every movie you make, I don't care what genre it's in, it's all the same shit. You have your fish out of water character. Mm-hmm. You have your evil, rich corporate character.
Right.
There's some, if it's an action movie, there's villains. And even Titanic, you had, instead of the alien, you've got the bodyguard guy who chases them around the ship.
Right. Oh, God, what was his name? Not Blake, Shane, Zane, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane, yeah. Well, Billy Zane was like the evil corporate kind of. Yeah. He was like the selfish, He
was the guy that the girls thought they would want, but he actually is a prick.
Well, he's greedy.
He's greedy. Yeah, he's an asshole. He's got great hair, though.
Right, yeah.
Until now.
And I like James Cameron movies, don't get me wrong. I mean, he knows how to make a solid movie. I mean, Terminator 2 is like the quintessential action movie.
One of the best sequels, probably the best sequel of all time, maybe.
I mean, it depends on what you consider a sequel. I would say Empire Strikes Back is the best sequel of all time.
That's true. That's true.
But that's kind of middle part of a trilogy, so I guess you could... But it's one of the best. And the best thing about Terminator 2, I mean, we won't get too far into Terminator 2, even though we could talk about it for 20 minutes.
Right.
The best thing about it is it doesn't match the tone of the first one, but it works.
But it works as its own movie.
Yeah, and as a Terminator movie.
I
love the first one.
And I still think that you can make an argument that it's arguably the best action movie of all time.
I mean, it's top. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think it is. It's not like my favorite action movie.
Right.
But I mean, you have to, acknowledge its place with like Die Hard and like it's in that, tier of movies.
I don't want to go into it too much, but God, I mean, I love Sarah Connor in it.
Yeah, she's great.
And every single action beat is amazing.
What was she, like wife number 2 or 3 that he cheated on? And
I mean...
Not to, he hurt our feelings with his Avengers comment, so that was a dig. But.
Well, I mean, the thing that I don't get about it is why do you wish that something that people are enjoying that actually has some merit of quality to it? I mean, it's not like complete and utter schlock or shit.
No.
Why are you wishing that something end that people really like that has some form of quality? That makes no sense to me.
Well, and it doesn't make sense because for a couple different reasons. The first thing I thought of is like, what percent, I know that people feel like there's all these superhero movies, but what percentage of movies are superhero movies? I mean,
yeah,
what
it's
was
bigger.
Marvel make like 2 or 3 a year, maybe four in a big year.
They just increased to 3 last year.
Okay, so 3, and how many movies come out a year? Hundreds of movies.
Exactly.
So you can go see whatever the hell you want.
Right.
It's nobody's making anyone see these movies. There's obviously a demand. Why does it bother you?
Right. Well, and he says there are more stories to tell, but it's like, there
they're
are,
they're
but
being told.
they're already being told. You're just upset that people aren't seeing those stories as much as they're seeing the Avengers movies, which is like...
Correct. Well, he's got some sort of a problem with the superhero genre. He when Wonder Woman came out, he kind of went out of his way to shit on that too.
Yeah,
and he did the same kind of thing, like, oh, the movie's great, but
I don't think that a strong, beautiful, flawless woman is a good role model.
Well, right? He said something.
It's nothing compared to Sarah Connor. What I did 20 years ago. That's exactly.
Yeah, that was
almost verbatim what he said.
This isn't something new.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. And maybe to an extent he might be right, but what's the point? Like, what does he get out of shitting on a successful movie?
Right. I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like in Hollywood, you got a lot of people who sort of bite their tongue because if you come off more pleasant, you tend to get more work. And I feel like James Cameron, because he's like, well, I did Avatar and I did Titanic and, fuck you. I still have the 2 highest grossing movies of all time or whatever.
Yeah.
So I can say whatever I want, but it's like, it doesn't make you right. It makes you sound very bitter, and it makes you sound very egotistical.
Yeah, well, I don't know what his problem is.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. Plus, just what he said doesn't make sense. I mean, obviously this is going to sound corny, but isn't the Avengers all about family?
Right.
I mean, it's a different kind of family, but isn't the point like...
Well, it's like the whole point is like we're stronger together than apart.
Correct. And what's wrong with that message? It's not just brooding assholes punching each other in the face like Batman versus Superman or something.
God damn it, you stole my line. you took away my opportunity to shit on.
I'm saying, though, like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I just had a random thought. He made 2 great sequels because Aliens is great, too.
Absolutely.
But that also has Paul Reiser, the corporate asshole,
the corporate
who's the greedy
asshole.
fuck.
Yep.
No, and there's... It's kind of he kind of takes like a hero's journey approach where, but all of his movies have these archetypes in them. And for him to sit here and talk about like, this lack of art that's going on, this high art, it's like, I'm sorry, dude, your movies are all good for a reason because you take a very simple, basic fucking premise and you make it awesome. But you're not some auteur. You're not some fucking, genius in my mind.
Right.
Although, I mean, his use of the technology of 3D was pretty groundbreaking at the time. I mean, it's still the most impressive 3D feature, I would say, that's come out.
I think the thing that, like, we're saying there are more stories to tell, and it's like, well, it sure would be nice if you would try telling a different story because all Avatar was Pocahontas or Fern Gully in space.
Yeah, that's true. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's one of those like timeless stories that you can pop. Dances with Wolves was the same plot.
Right, and I'm not going to say that there's no point for archetypes because these superhero movies are full of archetypes.
But if he's going to use them, he shouldn't shit on them.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like, and this whole hypergonadal, heroes, it's like, are you trying to tell me that Spider-Man's a hypergonadal male? Because I'm pretty sure he's more of like a beta male sort of nerd guy. He's not like a hypergonadal like Cavill's Superman is hypergonadal.
Right. Or Affleck's Batman.
Or Affleck's Batman.
But even Christian Bale's Batman to an extent. Yeah.
But I think you look at like even Steve Rogers, he doesn't seem to want to start a fight with people.
No, none of them do.
Right. Really. So, I'm like, you aren't even defining what you're critiquing in an accurate sense.
Correct.
So I just,
I mean, that's enough of that, but he's a douchebag. But I can't wait till he makes another movie. I wish it wasn't an Avatar movie. I wish he was doing something new.
Right.
Although you'd go see something new and it's just going to be the same shit, which, like I said, it'll probably be good.
Right.
Because he knows how to make a good movie.
Right. Well, he doesn't want to flex any sort of, I'm going to step outside this genre sort of muscles.
Right.
He just wants to stick with his action blockbuster sci-fi genre because it's what he understands.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, last thing I'm going to say about it is, like I said, if you're going to critique things for being the same story. Maybe don't go and film 4 Avatar sequels at the same time.
Yeah, but it's about that money, Alex.
I mean, fuck that.
Well, what's funny, though, about the money thing is, like, dude, is anyone fucking excited 10 years later? You waited too long, dude. Although
Right.
I guess it'll come out and make hundreds of millions of dollars, but
mean...
But I'm not like fucking, I can't wait till this Avatar fucking sequel comes out. You know what I mean? He's kind of got the George R. Martin thing going with the Game of Thrones books, where it's like it's been 6 years since the last one came out. I think he's gonna die before he fucking makes them. So fuck it,
Right, and yeah, with Cameron, it's like, I mean, people have sort of, in retrospect with that film, they have gotten over all of what made it special at the time, to the point where now I'd say it's far more mixed on its reviews than it was during its initial run.
Absolutely, because I mean, it's kind of like The Force Awakens, where you go see it and you're blown away the first time you see it, but the more you sit with it, the more times you watch it, you realize, like, oh, I've seen this before.
Right.
And the reason it's good is because it's using a formula that really works. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Like, that doesn't bother me, because I just pay money to go get entertained by a movie.
Right.
But yeah, I don't feel the same way. When I first saw Avatar, I was like blown away. You know what I'm saying? I was, it was unbelievable.
Right.
But now I'm not like, I don't ever sit and watch Avatar, to be honest.
I don't have any desire to, because it feels like a chore to sit through.
It does.
Yeah. It really, I mean, it's like 3 hours long, and it's shit that we've seen before.
Right.
But that's enough of James Cameron. New Venom trailer came out.
I saw it last night. I was laying in bed. I got the notification at, like, I don't know what time it was, like midnight. It came out late, or at least I got the notification.
You texted me and I was in bed. So
yeah, you didn't realize it was out even after you read my text.
I woke up. Well, okay, so there was a leaked. There's a Sony like CinemaCon going on right now.
Okay.
And so there was a leaked one. I was like, oh, Jackson must have saw that. But yeah, it was nice to like sort of wake up to your hate, like first thing in the morning. Venom looks like shit.
It does. And like, I had read that it was like a David Cronenberg style, like The Fly or something, where it's kind of going to be this like guy who's transforming who doesn't want to be.
Right.
And that sounds interesting. That's fine.
And that's about what Venom is anyways.
Well, and it's like, Jesus, why can't you don't do this as a cheesy CGI fest, shitty whatever movie that we've seen 1,000 times. Like, if you're going to do something like that, make it like a scary,
make it like a horror almost.
Right, yeah.
Venom is, if you're ever going to do a horror superhero film, Venom is the character you do it with.
And maybe that's what they're going to do, but the trailers aren't, because they're probably not going for a horror audience.
Well, the problem with the trailers is that it's just so generic. It's like
bike chase,
hospital
experiment scene.
Yep, the guy who the good reporter who's going and taking it to the bad businessman.
Oh yeah, I got a little nervous when I heard him literally say, like, "I'm a reporter." In the trailer.
What's up with his voice?
Why can't you show him being a reporter? Like,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think my favorite thing though is that he's kind of like a master of voices. I mean, you look at him in all of his movies, and he really seems to nail the voices.
Like Bane.
I mean, that's silly. It's absolutely silly.
It's good though.
But it was iconic.
Right.
We all remember it. I don't know what the hell he's doing here. He's like, you got something. It changed you. It's like weird, like what accent is that? Like, I understand you're not American, but what the fuck is that?
I think, so he does the voice of the, like, okay, just to explain, in the trailer, like, they get to, basically, he has some experiment done on him, whatever, he has a voice in his head.
Yeah.
And that's Venom.
Yep.
And he does that voice too.
Oh, he does?
Yes. So I'm thinking he's trying to, like,
he's really trying to separate
polar opposites, right? And you know what? I have a feeling this is an early trailer, because rumor has it there was a leak. Was that picture leaked? Was it not supposed to come out?
The picture was leaked. Yeah, because the CinemaCon was yesterday.
So maybe they were just like, fuck it, we need to release this trailer.
Right.
Who knows?
Because I don't know why they would try and release a trailer when like all this Avengers Infinity War hype is going on. It just sort of seems like you'd be drowned out.
Well, maybe it's going to start, it'll be play before Avengers. I mean, maybe.
I really
if it does,
hope not. I'm going to start out the movie with a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, this is what we have coming to the Marvel Universe, folks.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, Marvel is very apprehensive about, like, yeah, this is not ours. This is all Sony.
Well, okay, but you need to bring Venom into the Spider-Man universe correctly.
You do.
So do you think they recast Venom and this doesn't? Depending on how, I guess they could wait and see how shitty it does.
That's exactly what it is. This is a wait and see, and if it sucks, they'll just pretend it never happened, and they'll be like, "See, Sony." This is what happens when you go on your own.
It's funny how I just get like the chills when I see Sony pop up at the beginning of a trailer. It's just like, oh, Christ.
Because, I mean, they put out good movies. Like, they put out Baby Driver.
And Blade Runner 2049, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, they are capable of it, but it seems to be when they only get auteur directors. And I think they rival Fox for being how bad they put out comic book movies.
So I think what it is they're desperate to have like a franchise.
Yep. Well, yeah, because they never really gave up on the whole Spider-Man shared universe thing.
Oh, it was a joke.
Because they wanted to do, back in the day, when the Amazing Spider-Man series was going on, they wanted to do an Aunt May as a spy film.
Well, and didn't the second one end with him like in a fucking dungeon or whatever with like all the suits of the different villains in it? So where are you going with this? Well, were you just going to give the suits to random people?
Well, yeah, because that makes for an interesting story.
Like, oh, you're going to happen to find Otto Octavius and give him an octopus suit that you already had
It's
made.
like the Costco for like villains.
Right.
Like, my God, I mean, because they were planning on doing a Sinister Six film,
and Giamatti was set up.
Oh my God, as the cartoon Rhino.
The Rhino, yeah,
it's the Rhino.
Oh, I hate those movies. I truly hate them.
They're really bad. They're really, really bad.
Yeah,
especially the second one.
I actually thought the second one was better than the first because back to the Rampage thing from last week because it was just schlocky bullshit. And I know people don't like him, but I like that Dane DeHaan guy who played.
I really like Dane DeHaan.
Yeah, he's got a good look for the Green Goblin.
You know who he looks exactly like? He looks like exactly a young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, kind of. Sure. I mean, but a little weirder.
Weirder.
I don't think that he's like a heartthrob to the ladies.
No. Well, and I think part of that is how he plays himself too in the movies.
Yeah.
But Chronicle. Dude was great in Chronicle.
That movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's another one. Michael B. Jordan. Both those two were just standout performances.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Venom looks shitty to me. You said you thought the suit looked good. You're more of a comic book guy than I am.
I think they really nailed the suit. I think everything else in the trailer doesn't inspire any sort of confidence. I was saying to you, because I'm clarifying it a little bit. I like the look of the suit. I don't like the look of how it transforms around his head.
Oh, even though fucking stupid.
Even though that's comic accurate, that is how he transforms.
Okay.
I still don't think they nailed the look of it.
Well, and my point to you, when you said, it's comic accurate, but my point is what works in comic books doesn't necessarily work in movies. It can be improved upon if they choose.
Right. I think this is a vast improvement upon the Spider-Man 3 Venom suit.
Well, that's saying absolutely nothing.
Right. But for me, they nailed sort of the, it's kind of got a slimy texture, which is nice to see, instead of sort of that textured, ribbed thing that Topher Grace was wearing.
Right.
You know, it looks slimy. I like the multiple rows of teeth. The size of the mouth is finally appropriate. And I like the eyes. I actually think it's a good look. I just don't think the rest of the movie is going to be good.
I think his head looks tiny like The Rock's.
That would fit, though.
Yeah, that's fine, but it looks stupid.
Have you've seen bodybuilders. Their heads look so small.
I suppose, but he's not a bodybuilder. He's a fucking monster.
Actually, technically, Eddie Brock becomes a bodybuilder after getting the...
See, you're going too far.
Right,
okay, let's just stop you in your tracks now. Nobody gives a shit about that.
I like how Jackson's like, all right, so you proved me wrong. Nobody cares about that.
It's true. I just want to go see a good movie where a guy doesn't look like a goddamn fucking weirdo in it.
I mean, and that's sort of where I differ a little bit from you, because you say you want to just see a good movie. At this point, I'm like, why are you doing a Venom movie without
Spider-Man? Yeah, you don't really give a shit. Right.
Because... You changed his character. You changed his origin. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I don't know if I have much of an interest in this.
I have a problem with, the villain is, I think Roger Ebert once said, like, a superhero movie is only as good as its villain, which I think there's a lot of truth to that. What do you do in a fucking movie when it's just the villain? Like, I'm sorry, but wouldn't Venom done right be a hell of a lot more interesting as a polar opposite of Spider-Man, playing off each other?
Well, and that's what Spider-Man 3...
that's the character.
That's what Spider-Man 3 tried to do. But it's just a totally overstuffed piece of shit that was. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And also this whole sort of, like, they're going for... there's a run called Lethal Protector in the comics where Spider-Man and Venom, they sort of come to an agreement. Venom's like, I can't be around you. I have to leave New York. And he's like, all right, I'll let you leave New York as long as you're not going to kill people. He's like, yeah, I want to be a good guy. It's just you drive me fucking nuts. So I'm going to move to San Francisco. So he moves to San Francisco, becomes the Lethal Protector. That's what they're going for here. But the problem is it's just like Batman v Superman. You can't have the first movie be the thing that he worked up to in the comics. That's character growth that you're just shoving in one movie.
Well, and I don't want to see a Venom movie where he's not the villain. I'm sorry. I have no interest in that.
I wouldn't want to see that as his first movie. I wouldn't mind seeing it as his second or third movie.
Well, right, exactly, fine. But I have no knowledge of that. I'm just your average moviegoer who enjoys superhero movies. Right. And I know Venom is like the quintessential fan favorite villain of Spider-Man. So I don't want to go see them be fucking friends.
Well, and I think the problem is that Venom is kind of a one-note character. Spider-Man gets him fired. The symbiote gets rejected by Spider-Man. They come together. They hate him. They go and work out a bunch. And then they just fight him. Like, he's very, very one-note.
Yeah, but he just looks badass.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe it was the right idea in Spider-Man 3 to make him like a second villain.
Yep.
But they just completely executed it
I don't think
poorly.
that you can do that with the three that they had.
Oh shit! There was a third. James Franco was a villain in that too,
which is terrible because if you think about it, Franco has a great thematic arc in it, and Franco, all of them actually tie together thematically. It's about vengeance and revenge and acceptance and moving forward.
Yeah, no, Franco. The second one is my top. It's top 3 as far as superhero movies for me. I love the second one.
I put it in top 5.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But they keep on making such great ones that it's hard to. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's amazing. The whole setup with the villain, James Franco's character, that arc is fucking fantastic.
Yep.
And yeah, I was excited to see how it ended until you have him. You knew this was coming, Pete. Like in the third one, and you're just like, this is fucking garbage. So they ruined
when he's eating the pie.
Yeah,
at the restaurant. So good.
Yeah, the movie sucks.
Awful. So next piece of news I wanted to bring up, because it was something that we actually talked about off podcast, was so David Goyer got let go or whatever from that Masters of the Universe film.
Okay.
Now they have 2 indie directors called the Nee Brothers.
Okay, what did they make? Anything I'd know?
I'll put it in post.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Because I think, but yeah, I don't know what they directed at all. They've only directed one film before this, and I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Right. Any thoughts on
cast?
They have no one cast. They just got the directors first, which I think is a better way to go.
Sure, let them kind of pick somebody based on the tone that they want to go for the movie. I am a huge fan of Frank Langella as Skeletor in the original Masters of the Universe.
I think he's probably the singular good thing about the film.
I would agree. Until he has the gold fruity suit on at the end, which is just like, dude, you just took this iconic looking badass and turned him into a big, like, glimmering fruitcake, in my opinion.
I remember as a kid seeing that and thinking it was badass.
Right. Oh, the gold part?
The gold part.
That's hilarious.
I was like, oh, they gave him a transformation.
Oh, no, I was like, Dad, why'd they do that? It looks stupid.
I guess you could tell I was always going to be a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Yeah, there you go. He's kind of got a Thanos look to him.
He does.
There you go. So it was foreshadowing.
It was it's very archetypical for these,
But no, he was great. The costume was great. I would go see a new Masters of the Universe. I have fond memories of He-Man, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those things. I was kind of wondering what you thought would be appropriate for it, because I think you have two avenues, and I think you really have to embrace the tone on either avenue. You either go full on Game of Thrones, or you go full on Thor Ragnarok. You cannot do in the middle.
I would like either one of those.
Right.
Depending on if it was done well.
Right.
I don't care.
I feel like with Thor Ragnarok, because I'm not sure, because people are like, are they going to do a Thor 4? Taika said he wouldn't mind coming back. Hemsworth says he wouldn't mind coming back. So it's like, I don't know if it's the safe bet to go out and do a clone of Thor Ragnarok so close.
Well, the more I think about it, I mean, my personal preference would be like more of a dark tone with Skeletor.
Right.
But if they did the other one, I wouldn't care.
Right. Well, I mean, and you could do a dark tone and still have a serious villain in Skeletor, because I feel like Hela was pretty damn serious.
You mean you could do a light tone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
you could do it. You could do a light tone, but you could still keep the villain dark. It's just that, maybe there's a little bit of fun to be had at their expense, but they're still a badass.
Right. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Hela was a kind of an amazing villain for the movie she was in, and given how little sort of development she's given.
I wasn't a huge fan of hers, if I'm being honest.
Have you watched the movie since we saw it in
yes,
theaters? Okay.
Yes. I mean, she's a great actress, whatever, but I was so much more interested in the whole Jeff Goldblum. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
When they went back there to her, I was kind of just like, oh God, come on, let's get back to the trash planet.
Some of the scenes that she has are not great, but I don't think that they're anything that's her fault. I think she does a great performance. I think the look of her is great.
No, but but to your point about like if He-Man did that,
right.
My point is, I was having so much fun with the other part of the movie,
right?
Like that, when you kind of go to this place where it's this, bad guy droning on with exposition, like she kind of was. That was kind of her purpose.
Yep.
It's not that it felt out of place. I just didn't want to be there at the time.
I find that you're right in that those are the less interesting parts of the movie, but I find that her performance carries it through because she is so good and she hams it up so well. And I think that if you do something similar to that with Skeletor, you could make that tone work.
I suppose. And I'm a lot more like I can't imagine seeing a Skeletor like a whatever actor played him, seeing Skeletor on screen and not wanting to be watching Skeletor. I mean, I'm imagining the movie hasn't even been discussed yet as far as who's in it, and I know what the best part of the movie is going to be.
That's very true. I mean, I have a hard time believing that somebody who gets He-Man is going to just wow me.
It's true, but you never know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the only thing that I'm thinking is, like, we talk about a serious Game of Thrones tone. How are you going to do somebody like Orko or...
Oh, like the henchman?
Orko is the little wizard that you can't see his face. He's got an O, and he's just like small floating hooded thing.
All right, so here we go. I think I can picture that in my head, but here's an example again of you having more knowledge of the actual lore than me. I just know the movie with Dolph Lundgren. That's the extent of my He-Man.
There is no excuse. It is on Netflix.
So I should be watching it.
You should be watching that show and tell me that you can do that in a serious way. And the weird thing is that it was originally designed as just like a toy brand. Like it didn't have a comic series before. They only made the show to sell the toys.
Right. Well, it's like a Transformers.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things where you're like, wow, there's no real actual value in this as far as like themes or anything. It's just kind of like good versus evil and like how many toys can we sell?
Yeah, well, that's fine. You know me, I love the Transformers, so bring on He-Man.
And on that note, that's the end of the episode. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go into Westworld, Season 2 premiere.
Oh, there you go.
Westworld 2, Episode 1.
Yeah, so I wasn't horribly impressed, or greatly impressed, I would say. I wasn't, like, disgusted by any means, but it was just kind of a generic action.
I thought that this was easily the weakest episode of the entire series.
Yeah, I mean, I just rewatched the first one. I know you just watched the first one.
Yeah, thanks to you. I watched the whole first season.
Did you bring those back?
No, I didn't.
You son of a bitch. This is why I can't loan out movies, folks. Don't loan out movies.
I'm on my way, and I'm rushing out the door, and 10 minutes on the road, I'm like, fuck, and I'm already late.
Yeah, no, but it's a good show. I don't know. A lot of people have seen it, but the first episode of the new season, I thought I didn't realize that the way they'd take Dolores is just like a masochistic lunatic who's murdering everyone. I didn't expect that.
And it's very weird because you're like, you were our protagonist for season 1, and now you are straight up villain.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in some way you're supposed to kind of feel like these people deserve it, right? I mean,
right.
But
I mean, the thing is I always feel like this about sort of these sort of like us versus them stories is that eventually we'll get to the point where we understand that it's about the individual and it's not about the groups. You know, you judge an individual based on their actions. You don't judge a person simply for belonging to a group.
Right.
And that's what the X-Men is, and that's what this is. And it's like, that's why somebody who takes sort of a totalitarian sort of look at a group like the way Dolores is, they're instantly the villain because you're like, but what did these people specifically do to you?
I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
There's nobody in the park right now, I don't believe, outside of the corporation that runs the park.
Yeah.
So everyone she's killing did specifically do this.
Right.
I mean,
true.
To an extent.
That's true. And they have profited off of it.
Right. Now, where I have trouble with it is, you know, the whole point is that she found her consciousness basically by getting to the center of the maze in the first. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
She's still a robot. And I watch the show and I think to myself, like, yeah, these people are dying, but I still feel bad for them because they know that these are robots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, like in the first season, it starts with young William and his brother. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they want you to kind of think the brother's a dick and William is kind of the like morally centered one. But I just watched it.
Soon to be brother-in-law.
Right. Yeah. Brother. I'm sorry. Yeah. Good call. But I feel like the point is, I feel like they're trying to make William seem like he's like this good guy.
Good guy. Yeah.
And the brother-in-law is the bad guy. He's kind of a prick. Well, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, God, this William's kind of an idiot. I mean, you're falling in love with fucking robots. The other guy gets it. He's the one who gets the game that you're playing. Like,
well, I think I disagree severely because I'm looking at William and I'm like, he is seeing in her she's self-aware. She's breaking out of loops. She is becoming a sentient being, and therefore what you're doing to her is wrong.
As the show goes on, sure, but right away at the beginning of the series, he's like, oh, don't be mean. Oh, it's like, dude.
Right.
Like, okay, so William figures it out.
Yeah.
That something is different about her.
Yep.
As the show goes on. But my point is, like, I'm of the mind that, like, yeah, these are robots. Have a good time. Kill as many of them as you want. Like, you know, and for anyone to be watching this going like, yeah, you get these corporate assholes. It's like, bullshit. You'd be doing the same shit. Mm. You know what I mean? That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, and that's sort of like, you know, I still play Grand Theft Auto from time to time, and I played Grand Theft Auto after this game, and I'm like, man, like, what if we get to that point where, you know,
you can actually run over 20 like robots in a car,
right?
Like, it feels real,
and it feels like, I don't know if I'd be able to do it personally.
I could,
because it just, well, I mean, it really depends on what it's like. I mean, I think the first season really makes a bad case for humanity because it's like, I know that it's technically a harmless situation, or at least it's supposed to be. But I mean, look at how barbaric they're acting. Yeah, it's supposed to be in a safe space. But I mean, the way that
some of them are acting barbaric. Some of them are like that guy with his wife, the cheesy dude who like kills the villain and like wants his picture taken and shit.
You,
like
sir,
that. I feel like that would be me at the park.
You look like a man who's willing to test their mettle.
Yeah, I feel like that guy is a good example of what I would be there for. The brother-in-law, I mean, he is a prick.
Right.
Obviously, he takes it to the extreme. But my point is, you had two extreme cases. William is the extreme, like, nice guy.
Right.
Gonna treat these robots with respect, which, to me, I'm sitting here thinking, like, dude, you can't fall in love with a fucking robot. Like, love at first sight with a robot.
Well, love at first sight with, well, see, now you're getting into really philosophical shit. Love at first sight is one thing. Love at first sight with a robot is a completely different thing. I'm not even sure if I believe in love at first sight. But, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like Her, the movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
I never saw it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like I
film.
need to see that. Yeah, that's odd that I've never seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Amazing. I think it's top like 2 for me that year. It's really tough for me because I'm like, actually, my girlfriend kind of got a little annoyed with me because she's like, well, you're talking about, these aren't humans. They're not real.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, but if they think and they can understand what's happening to them, they're sentient beings. It doesn't matter.
That's the crux of the show, right? Right. At what point, who are you to say that they're not real?
Right. Well, and then I really started thinking about evolution and how we are, like, humans are programmed to be clannish. We're programmed to seek a mate, a long-term mate, usually, because it's easier to be with someone than alone, just evolutionary-wise. We're programmed to procreate, and we are programmed to make the world a better place for our offspring in some regard, whether that's a macro sense or a micro sense.
Right.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, is the whole point of this to be that humans are technically kind of on a pre-programmed loop as well? They haven't really gone into that, but I'm wondering if that's what they're going to go into. I feel like
it'll get into that at some point. I mean, how convinced are we? Never mind. Yeah, you can cut that out because I changed my mind as I was thinking.
Yeah, I love when that happens.
Yeah.
You're like, nope, that doesn't hold
wrong.
up.
Nope. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a great show. I thought the first episode, I'm kind of with you. I didn't think it was that great.
No, I mean, I certainly didn't hate it, but it was definitely the weakest of the show because...
Hopkins being gone, it's going to hurt the show.
Yep. I mean, having Ed Harris still there is a big plus.
Yeah.
I mean, they were smart to not kill him off. 'Cause Jesus Christ, the man is great.
Yeah, he is awesome. And Hopkins was so goddamn good, though.
Yeah, I mean, he could do this shit in his sleep.
Yeah, he's the
ridiculous.
master of, like, the creepy fucking guy that you like.
And I love the fact that they gave him real depth.
Oh, yeah, he was great. His ending part was great.
Yes.
When you realize that, like, okay, he actually does, he's trying to move this along.
Right. But, we're talking about Dolores and we're talking about her, being self-aware and all this shit. I'm not entirely certain because how did Hopkins know that she was going to come up and shoot him?
Did he know?
I'm pretty sure that he planned for that. I think that...
Yeah, you're right. He planned for it. He did. You're right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, are they on a loop? Are they still following a script? Because really, she sort of knows what's going on. But I mean, you look at the way that she sort of uses this flowery language. She still talks like she's in the Old West and sort of has this sort of grandeur with the way she talks. It's way different than Maeve, who is really fully, completely aware of what's going on.
Well, hold on. So I was talking about that with a guy at work that I know. He just did rewatch the first one too. So there was the part at the end of the first season, this character Maeve realizes she's trying to leave, and you think it's like a conscious decision to leave the park.
Right.
And basically she gets on the train to leave, and then all of a sudden she decides not to leave. Mm-hmm. She's like, fuck it, I want to find my daughter.
Yep.
And you, as the viewer, are supposed to go, oh, this is her, like,
fighting,
waking up.
Yeah.
Right. But there's the scene where she's told that she's programmed to leave.
Yep.
Bernard gets cut off. And I don't know if you noticed that, but he does not finish. He's like, and someone cuts him off.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad I didn't bring the Blu-ray back. I'm going to watch that scene now.
Yeah, and someone cuts him off. So you don't know, really.
Right. Well,
see, I'm more convinced on the Dolores being conscious, like her consciousness being, legit.
I think the whole purpose of the show is to make you question.
Right.
Because I look at Maeve, and there was that scene where they were showing her that everything that she was saying was actually still showing up as sort of a pre-programmed.
Right.
And I'm like...
That was the same scene, right?
Was it?
Or no?
That was a different scene, because that was only
earlier.
with the butcher guys.
Yeah.
What about Teddy?
Uninteresting.
I feel really bad for Marston.
Yeah, I'm not interested in
I mean, I
Teddy.
loved his character in the first season because I really thought he was going to go somewhere, and then he kind of didn't.
He was just kind of the boring... I don't know.
I really thought they were setting him up for something interesting. I still think they might be. Was he the one who was floating in the water?
Yes.
At the end of the episode?
Everyone's dead. All the hosts were drowned.
All of them are dead.
Yeah, that was what I got from that.
Holy shit.
You gotta bring back to life,
I didn't know that they said all of the hosts.
I think that's what they said. So basically, they were like, "Yeah, all the hosts are gathering here." Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And then they show, and they're all floating there. But my thought is like, okay, well, who did that? So I think that's the mystery now.
Yeah. See, that was the problem. Is by the end of the episode, I did start pulling out the phone and started sort of disengaging.
That's bad. That's always bad. That's a bad sign.
Because I realized it about a half an hour in. I pulled out my phone for the first time. I was like, I binged watched the whole first season in a matter of like 2 days, and I never pulled out my phone because I was like, every moment of this show is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. I'm not like, it sounds like you like it even more than I do.
I thought, especially, so I watched the first 2 episodes a day after I finished the series, and I'm like, man, there is so much foreshadowing. There is so much double meaning in everything that's going on in this script. I think the first episode might be one of the best first episodes of a series maybe ever.
It was really good. I thought it was funny rewatching it. Just like the fact that I didn't know within 5 seconds that Bernard was a host. Like,
right.
It's fucking obvious as hell.
Right.
And I wasn't like crazy surprised.
Yeah,
like,
I wasn't either.
But I should have known immediately.
Well, the thing was, right. And the thing was with Bernard, I was like, well, I'm not sure if he's one, but his girlfriend, I forget her name.
Oh, the CEO or whatever.
The corporate liaison, whatever.
Right.
I thought that she might be one. And she ended up being one. I was like, hey, I got one of them. But hold on. The girlfriend wasn't one. I think she was.
No, he killed her.
Yeah, he did kill her.
She wasn't I don't think she was
I think you're going to have to, I think once I get it back to you,
why do you think she was a host?
Because I'm pretty sure that they actually showed that bit. There was a point where, he's sort of asking Hopkins, have you ever had me kill a person like this before? And he's like, no. And then it sort of does a flashback and shows her like as a robot.
No, it shows him killing the other girl.
Yeah, well, that was the first time because they actually do that scene twice.
What the hell was her name?
I can't remember.
All right, well, we're gonna figure this out.
All right,
during the podcast.
I'm not gonna record that.
So we cut so I could look this up,
and it says she's a human on the internet, but I remembered another scene, so we're gonna just
maybe
go
it's
to
up
the
in the
Blu-ray.
air, but I think she's a human. It doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Logically if she's not.
Right. Well, and she's such a small character. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
She's big in that it's a huge turning point for Bernard.
Right. But as a character who sort of has, sort of drives in the show, she doesn't really drive the show.
Right. No.
Something I was thinking about with, and it was something that I couldn't help coming back to as I was watching episode 1 of season 2 was in season 1, you've got all this thematic stuff. You've got all these secrets and you've got this history that you learn throughout. And you've got these loops that sort of are ways that you explore characters.
Sure.
Which allows for repetition and true sort of reveals that are amazing from a sort of existence standpoint.
Yes.
And I don't know how you're going to replicate that in the second season.
I thought about that too. Now that the park is like done, what do you do?
Right.
You know
well,
what I mean?
And now that they know that they're robots, now the whole you still have the question of like, am I on a loop or am I making my own choices? But I feel like that can only take you so far. Like you expended sort of like the history of these characters. So now there's no sort of like, we're not going to find out another secret history about these characters.
No, we might.
We might, but I feel like they've already done that a couple times in season 1 to the point where it's like, you can't keep adding secret history upon secret history to the characters.
I mean, at some point, it'll be interesting when they go to one of the other parks. Like at the end of the first season, there was Samurai World that you saw.
Right.
So that'll be interesting, but you're right. I mean, I don't know where the show goes, but that's, it's their job to write an interesting show.
Right. Well, the only thing I was thinking the whole time was the only place that you can go, since you can't really go too much deeper thematically and you don't have too many new twists, is the only place you can go is deeper with the characters.
Sure.
Because, the characters they're all interesting, But are they that interesting to carry the show forward to do like a Game of Thrones? Can you go
James Marsden's not interesting enough to carry on this goddamn character. Although we know the least about him, so.
Right. Well, and the thing the thing that I find interesting about him is that he still hasn't broken through his shell and he still hasn't changed.
Well, I think in watching that first episode, I think he is going to have his problems with what Dolores is doing, and I think that's where the conflict is going to come.
The only thing that really felt like a real foreshadowing, I mean, there was things that felt like foreshadowing in this episode, but the big one was when she says it comes down to me and you, Teddy. At the end, it comes down to me and you, and I'm like, okay, that could be how the season ends, is those two in some capacity.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe you're doing some double entendre shit, like
I'm sure they are.
But I don't feel like it's anywhere near as good as the first season as far as sort of.
Well, it's one episode. We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, it can pick up. But I was disappointed. But let's talk about something a little bit more fun.
Oh yeah. What do you want to talk about first?
Why don't you go into blockers? I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't have much to say about it. I guess I want to start by saying, like, comedy isn't my favorite genre of movie.
Right.
I mean, either you're a funny movie or you're not.
Right.
And there's funny, like, with heart, and then there's funny, which is what I'm assuming Super Troopers was, which is just fucking retarded.
Right.
Dumb.
Right.
I thought Blockers had heart. And it was funny. And it had a couple good performances in it.
John Cena
was okay. He wasn't as good as, like, everybody was saying he carried the movie. And
could you see him?
Yeah, I could see him.
Okay. I might cut that bit out. That was fucking dumb.
The other guy in it, apparently he was on Mad TV. I don't know his name. He was funny as hell. And Leslie Mann, who I usually can't stand, because they kind of usually have her be like an annoying wife or something.
Right.
She was really good in it, I thought.
Okay.
Two of the daughters were really good. The third daughter was kind of meh. But yeah, I mean, the premise of the movie is that they're going to prom, these three friends who've known each other forever, and basically one of them leaves their laptop open and has like some Apple app or something where the text messages come through on the computer.
Right.
So the parents see that they have a pact to lose their virginity on prom night.
Okay. Yeah.
They all have their own reasons for wanting to stop, like John Cena just can't believe it. He thinks it's just terrible. Like his daughter, like losing her virginity, whatever. The mom, kind of her motivation is basically that her daughter wants to move away. The dad died or something when she was young, and the daughter's like wants to move to California.
Okay.
And she knows that, and she's worried that like if she falls in love with this boy, that the same thing's going to happen to the daughter has happened to her, where she's going to get pregnant at a young age and like, whatever. She doesn't want her daughter far away because she doesn't want,
Right.
So that creates this thing where it's like, oh, was I a mistake then, Mom? Which is kind of interesting because, she obviously knows she didn't make the right choices, but she ended up with a lovely daughter. That's interesting.
Right.
And then the third guy's not worried about it. He's the funniest character.
Is that
the Mad TV guy?
Yeah.
He's not worried about it because he knows his daughter's a lesbian, and she hasn't come out to him or anything. He just knows because
fantastic.
He can just tell, and he's right. I mean, she is like her conflict throughout the movie is like, oh God, I'm in this pact, but I don't
really want to do
this.
I
don't like whatever, but yeah. Chaos ensues and a bunch of stupid, funny shit happens. And it bounces. It's about 50-50 between the parents and the daughters, which was interesting. I thought it was just going to be
parents.
They're just kind of there once in a while. But no, they kind of, and really good performances by the two girls. The one was boring. The blonde one, you'll know she's boring as soon as you see one scene with her.
Okay.
The other two are interesting.
It's funny. The lesbian is interesting, and the
John Cena's daughter.
John Cena, the one who actually really just wants to go out and get nailed.
Yes. Yes. Right. Yeah, it's good. And then there's like the guys that they go to prom with are all pretty funny characters. And one of them's like a man bun style, like chill dude who
fantastic.
He's called the chef because he bakes drugs into things. It's pretty funny.
This is pretty great that I'm laughing during a description of the movie.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody who's seen the trailer saw the infamous butt chug scene with John Cena.
Yep.
It's as good in the movie as it is on the trailer. It's really funny. John Cena, he's good. He's likable.
I mean, he was great in Ferdinand.
I didn't see Ferdinand.
I didn't either.
No,
I just thought that would make a great soundbite.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, no, it was funny. I highly recommend it. Thought it was really good. It was really good. Not just because it was funny, but because it's good.
Because it's got heart.
Lumbergh has a good. Bill Lumbergh has a great bit in it. He's always great.
He is always great. Even in Pineapple Express, he was great in that one.
Oh yeah, he just hams it up with the best of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, you can really tell that comedy is not your genre because you talked about it for like 2 minutes
and I'm done.
And you're like, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
No,
it made me laugh.
It had a heart. It was good. I liked it.
No, I don't disagree with what you said about comedy. Comedy's really tough.
Well, and once in a while you get like a legendary one. This isn't one of those. This isn't like like I thought 40-Year-Old Virgin was like fucking amazing. You know, like the early Apatow stuff was good.
Yeah.
Kingpin is another one that I think it's a great movie. The Farrelly brothers.
Hugely disagree on that one.
You don't like Kingpin?
I don't like Kingpin.
Oh God,
I hate
Ernie McCracken.
I hate Bill Murray in it.
No, Ernie Big Earn. How do you not like Big Earn?
I will be fair. I only watched the first half an hour because I could not stand it.
Oh, there's nothing better than Big Earn.
I might go back and check it out because I do respect your opinion.
It's so stupid. It's unbelievable. It's a Farrelly Brothers. It's my favorite Farrelly Brothers movie.
Wow.
And they were like the Dumb and Dumber guys.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it way better than Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
And you insult Bill Murray. He's the best character in the movie. So maybe you won't like it.
I mean, there are a lot of people who love that movie.
Oh, it's funny.
And I'm sure there are a lot of people who will listen to this and be like, "You're a fucking moron. I'm not listening to this podcast anymore."
I'm trying not to say it, folks.
Right.
Really trying.
I'm gonna go back and I'll go back and check it out. Might not have been in the movie.
It's not on Blu-ray.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, the fun fact, somehow Kingpin, the best Farrelly Brothers, is not on Blu-ray.
Because it is a cult classic, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's not weird that it's a cult classic, but...
No, you need to take that cult word out of there. It's a classic, period. It's a fantastic movie. But no, that's Coming to America to me is another, but
that one transcends time.
That's like a bona fide classic movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is good. This is more of like an American Pie type feel.
If we're going to throw out ones that you're talking classics. I think probably one of my favorite comedies of all time, and it's going to sound really weird, is I Love You, Man.
Yeah, no, does not. I saw it. No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
It's
good. It's fine. That's like this.
Right.
I like this better than that.
Right. I mean, and that's sort of what I thought. That's sort of what I got from Blockers, except Blockers I thought would be a little bit more raunchy, which it sounds like it is.
It is. It's funny, man. Well, it's not raunchy just for the sake of being raunchy.
Unlike the film that I'm going to talk about.
Right, exactly. And you know what that is. Like,
yes.
I haven't even seen it, and I know exactly what it is. Like, it's raunchy, but nothing is, like, forced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's
there is
the jokes are all really well set up.
Right.
Like, I do think there is a definite art to making a good comedy movie. Mm-hmm. Take Adam Sandler and do the opposite of what he does.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I would highly recommend it.
Maybe don't just do a funny voice and fart in the air,
Right.
Maybe just actually...
Or just
strangely enough, that's what most of the movie that I'm going to talk about.
All right, well, let's get into it.
Super Troopers 2.
Okay, so to preface this, a buddy of mine at work was really excited to see it. Mm-hmm. He saw it, and he said it was as funny as the first one. But now to follow up on that, I haven't seen the first one since I stopped smoking pot.
Right.
So
same.
Yeah. So that's where I'm questioning how good even the first one was. I have fond memories of the first one. I thought it was funny at the time.
Right.
So tell us, Alex, how is it?
So, as far as what your buddy was saying with being as funny as the original, I sort of had the same conversation with not exactly the same conversation, but it was sort of similar in that I hadn't seen it since I stopped smoking pot, a long time ago. And my brother is about 10 years younger than me. So this is way before his time. And
now, is he a fan of the first one, or he wasn't around?
He's never seen it.
Oh, really? And did he see the new one?
No, he hasn't seen. Okay. He hasn't seen it. But I'm sitting there and I'm trying to describe, like, hey, you should check this movie out. And I'm describing the bits, and I'm realizing how sort of unfunny the bits can be just by describing what happens in them.
Like, they're very juvenile.
You have to see the movie, and then I'm sitting there and I'm actually questioning, like,
have to see it?
Is this movie even like funny if you don't smoke pot?
Well, and I said that to the girlfriend too the other day. I'm like, oh, it's getting shitty reviews. And then I looked up the old one, the first one, and it also got shitty reviews. And I'm like, oh. I'll
describe my experience with the film, with the second film. So I go into the theater with the girlfriend, and I didn't really feel like watching a comedy. I just was not in the mood, but I needed to do it for the podcast. So I go in, not feeling it, not really laughing too much for the first, I'd say, 10 minutes. Like, it's all right. But then it just wears you down. You're like, this is so fucking dumb. This is a whole new level of dumb that I didn't even know existed. Like Favre from the first movie, which I always think is like a little dig on Brett Favre's
Yeah, it totally
name.
Is a Farba. Yeah.
I could not believe how much I laughed during the beginning and the middle.
It did make you laugh.
It made me laugh
dumb.
like a lot, but it's so fucking dumb. Like,
all right, well, I mean, that's kind of what I expected. I still want to see it.
Like, you're not proud of laughing while you're laughing at it.
Right, you're not laughing at anything clever.
No, you're just like there's a point where Farva gets in a motor scooter because he took some drugs. So he's kind of doing the Stephen Hawking, but he's being Farva. So he's like, you're a fucking douche. And then he like runs into like paint cans in the thing. And you're like, I shouldn't be laughing at this. This would appeal to the 15-year-old version of myself.
Right.
But you still laugh until I'd say there's about 20 minutes left in the movie. And then they sort of have to do. So I'll give you a rundown on the premise of the film. So these guys have been fired. They're no longer policemen at the beginning of the movie. They're working at different jobs, but they still hang out. They mention a Ben Savage incident that got them fired.
Okay.
But beyond that, you don't really know how they got fired. Oh, and it does start out with like a dream sequence. That's a minor spoiler, but I mean, the dream sequence is like the first 5 to 10 minutes of the film.
Okay.
So it's like, and that dream sequence is so fucking weird. You're like, there's no way they start the movie like this. But anyways, basically what happens is when the U.S. was looking at the border with Canada, they found the markers were in a different place. So Vermont is actually a little bit bigger. They had to carve out a little part of Canada, and Canada was like, yeah, this is how it originally was, so you guys get it. So they needed a police force, a temporary police force.
Just to handle that
Just to
region.
handle sort of that region and sort of handle the transition. They might get a more professional one, or they might keep them on if they do a good job. That's kind of the idea. So, hey, here's your second chance. Don't fuck this up like the Ben Savage incident. And then the Mounties have problems with them. There's Rob Lowe in the film.
I saw him in the trailer.
There are a lot of metric system jokes. There are a lot of metric system jokes.
I would assume there's at least one that regards penises.
Oh, there are tons
like
of penis.
Metric system penis joke. I'm guessing.
You know what? I actually think they missed that one.
That's amazing.
I think they did.
They should all be fired. Inches versus centimeters, some sort of misunderstanding between the Monties and the troopers. That,
right.
When they're trying to rip on each other.
Right. Well,
like he's like, oh, I've got, a 13, and the guy's like, holy shit, whatever. That's the joke I'm picturing.
Yeah, they missed that one.
I am available to be hired to help you.
This podcast is partially, sort of crowdsourcing, sort of looking for jobs. You guys want to hire us as comedy writers. I mean, this is gold we're giving you right now.
Yeah, right. I agree. But no, continue. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, the Mounties, Jesus Christ, the Mounties, Will Sasso is one of them.
Okay.
And then it's another one of those, you recognize the guy and he's from SNL
sure.
or something, but you don't know his name. And then there's another one that I don't know either. they have some of the worst Canadian accents I've ever heard. Because it's kind of like the Quebec sort of accent where it's like there's a little bit of French in there too. You know?
Okay.
They just have to do that whole like, we are talking French, so way down here.
Yeah. Well, you're laughing as you're talking about it, which is a good sign.
Well, the thing is like, the movie is so weird in that you don't know if it's intentionally bad. Like, I don't know if they're like, do the worst French Canadian accent you can, or if Will Sasso is actually trying.
No, I mean, I'm sure it's just do a French Canadian accent, and whatever came out of his mouth was funny. So they were like, "Oh, okay, who gives a shit if it doesn't sound legit or not?"
And there are bits in this movie that are fucking hilarious. But then at the same time, as I'm driving home, I am having a really hard time remembering any of the specific bits that I liked. Like, it is not a movie. I don't think it's anywhere near as quotable as the first movie.
Okay.
And it falls apart at the end. None of the jokes land at the end at all. It's one of those things when you're going to do a dumb, idiotic, juvenile humor sort of movie, make it 20 minutes shorter than you would a normal comedy. Because I feel like the human brain can only take so much stupidity in one sitting.
Gotcha. Yep.
But yeah, that's my review. It was fine. I had a blast for about a good 45 minutes in the middle, which is more than I was expecting when I saw the 35%.
So would you be a full ripe tomato, or would you be a splatted tomato if you were?
I think I'd be like half splatted.
I know they don't. Splatted,
I do. My whole existence is riding the line.
Okay,
so.
Well, from what you just described, I would say you're a fresh tomato.
Yeah, I mean,
go see the movie.
What I would
or
say,
stay away from the movie.
I'd say go see it, but go see it for like $5 or rent it. Don't just skip it.
Okay.
It's the 45 minutes in there that are funny are pretty fucking funny.
This is the time to use those movie passes, folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else?
No. Next week, I'm hoping you have homework this week. You got to go see. You were never really there. Yeah. Because I saw that this weekend. And I'll just premise this by saying it's in the running for my favorite movie so far this year.
Which
easily.
Wow.
Easily. Like, it is. You're not going to have fun.
Right.
But it's fantastic.
Well, the thing is I saw the trailers, and I saw it's supposed to be a cross between Taxi Driver and Drive.
Sure.
Taxi Driver is a great movie. And Drive is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay.
So, yeah, maybe you'll like it, but it's not. The trailer makes it seem more generic than it is. Did you see We Need to Talk About Kevin?
We Need to Talk About Kevin.
So that's another movie this director made. Dude who plays the Flash in Justice League is in it. He's her son. Tilda Swinton is the mom of this kid, and he's a school shooter.
Oh, shit.
It's a real dark movie. I mean, it's good. Tilda Swinton is, she's amazing. Right.
Yeah. Well, the kid who plays the Flash is actually a good actor.
He's good in it. Yeah. I mean, he's super. I mean, it's a very archetypical, I don't even know if that's a word, but it's a very like overblown example. I mean, the kid is basically like a fucking demon his entire life.
Wow.
He's just a horrible person, and the mom knows it, and she's the only one who knows it, and she just can't stop him from being a fucking sociopath, psychopath, asshole. You got to see it. It's good. It's really good. It's dark, and you feel like shit. And so is this one. And I would say this one is weirder than that one.
Cool.
It's very weird. It's not normal.
It looks like it's going to be violent.
There's and the best thing about the movie is it's lean and mean. It's like 89 minutes.
Nice.
And there's no exposition in it, really. It's just to the point, and it's fucking weird. I don't know. I like weird shit, though.
Right.
Like, I like the ghost story way more than you did.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so maybe you'll go in and it'll be an experience like that where you walk out. But I don't think you'll be bored. You said you were bored during that. You won't be bored during this. That's for sure.
Well, my problem with the ghost story was I saw all the twists coming.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I read up on some of the stuff, and my girlfriend loves all the supernatural and spiritual stuff.
Sure.
So she reads up on it. So I'm like, I called the end of the movie before it even happened.
Right. So that was probably, I would say, the best movie of last year to me.
A ghost story?
Yes. I love that movie. Now, is it my favorite? My favorite might have been Planet of the Apes or The Greatest Showman.
I still need to see The Greatest Showman. I will definitely get The Greatest Showman. And, we're going to have a loaded podcast next week. Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, yeah, that's the big moment next week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you got to go see, what's it called, too? Because we got to talk about that. Those two will be perfect. We can talk about those the whole time.
Nice.
And then, if you want to talk about The Greatest Showman, I have a feeling you're not going to like it very much, but that's just a guess.
Look, I love me some good family entertainment.
Yeah, it's
good.
do.
So,
actually, on that note, I just got Paddington 2 in the mail today. I'm pretty excited to sit and watch that again.
That was another one that I ended up skipping that I did not mean to.
Yeah, that's like the best reviewed movie of all time. Shit, 100% with like 170 reviews or something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, you were saying your favorite from last year was either Greatest Showman or
Apes, but that was really good too. Although that was last year, Paddington 2, right?
Wait, no, you said A Ghost Story might have been.
A Ghost Story I think is probably the best, but it's not my favorite maybe.
Right.
I was blown away by A Ghost Story though. Like when it ended, I was blown away by it.
See, and this is the first time that this has happened to me in a long time where a Marvel movie is actually like my favorite of the year because I loved Thor Ragnarok.
We all know that we don't believe him. This happens every year.
No, it really doesn't. This is the first time since Winter Soldier in 2014.
Okay. Ragnarok was great.
Yeah. I mean, wildly different movies.
Super fun.
But I mean, other than that, well, I don't even know if... Because
I think it is important, though, to make the distinction between best and favorite. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think Ragnarok is a great movie from a lot of aspects, but I'm not sure if it was the best. I have a hard time making best lists because there are a lot of good movies.
I know, that's true. That is true.
I can't even...
I loved Lady Bird, too. I know that's another one you didn't like as much as I did.
Oh, Shape of Water might have actually been the best movie that I saw last year.
Jesus.
I mean,
last year kicked ass, though.
There are a lot of good movies last year. There have actually been a lot of good movies this year.
This is why people, to James Cameron's point, you got to go out and see those other movies, not just the superhero
Avengers,
movies. You have options.
Right. We have options. I mean, hey, that's why we're doing a podcast to let you know, hey, maybe go and check this one out. It's pretty fucking good.
Yep.
Well, I mean, also we like to hear ourselves talk, let's be honest.
Yeah, I literally have headphones in so that I can hear myself talk during this. It's a very cathartic.
It's not trippy at all to have sort of that echo effect while you're talking.
No.
It gives you a little bit of a God complex.
I sound super odd, and then I sound even odder when I waste my time listening to myself again later in the week. But
Don't you feel like a narcissistic... I told the girlfriend today, I'm like, I don't know if it's narcissistic that I watch my YouTube videos and I listen to my podcast.
No, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're not like, well, who was it? I think Pierce Brosnan has never watched one of his Bond movies.
Yeah, but
his kids watch his Bond movies, and he's never seen a Bond movie with him in it.
But here's the thing: I probably listen to them at least 3 or 4 times through the editing process, so I already know exactly.
Yeah, but you want to see the finished product.
Yeah, and I also want to pat myself on the back a little bit
because you spent a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been listening to him too. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
That's
for this one, right?
End of the episode.
Yeah, next week is the Avengers. We're going Thursday night. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
IMAX 3D.
Oh man, I'm excited.
I'm pumped.
I don't. It is scary that it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I mean, that's a long movie. But I know this is what Alex lives for. He's been waiting for this. He is pumped.
I'm not going to sit next to you. I'm going to sit on the other side of my girlfriend in case I cry, because I'm going to cry some nerd tears. That shit is happening. If you know anything, don't tell me. No, I don't know anything. No, I'm staying away from spoilers. I'm just expecting greatness.
Okay, and you're expecting someone to die, is what it sounds like.
I'm expecting a decent amount of death.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, this is Thanos. This is going to be a good time.
All right. Well, I'm expecting a decent amount of death. This is going to be a good time. It's like I know I feel.
Yeah, I like dark
to see
movies
some fuckers
too.
Killed off. Yeah. It's time to kill some people off. Maybe finally there will be some sort of something at stake, which has always kind of been the problem with these movies.
I think the problem with that is that they released all sort of like the titles of the movies that were coming out. So you're like, well, I know that Black Panther has to survive Civil War because he's got his own movie coming up.
Well, they're introducing him. I don't feel like there's much at stake ever, because all these goddamn characters you make it a solo movie and they make $700 million at the box office. So it's like, how do you kill off Iron Man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think eventually you have to, because, one, Robert Downey Jr. is getting up there.
Well, when he's done, sure.
Right. Well, and that's why I think everybody is expecting there to be real stakes in this, is because basically everybody's contracts are up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But yeah, if you guys want to email us at twoboredandannoyedboys@gmail.com, you can email us any questions or things you guys might want us to watch. We're always looking for something new.
Yeah, hopefully there's more than 3 people listening to this and they'll email us. Or if there is 3 people listening to this, or maybe this is the future 20 years from now and we're the most popular people on the planet.
Wow.
And everyone is listening to this. And
no ego on that one whatsoever.
And Gmail's still around. And that's the goal, right?
Right, that is the goal.
Right.
But you guys have a great one. I have been Home at the Movies.
And I've been Jackson.
Peace. I'm not going to put that peace in there.